Welcome back to Small Town TV. I'm Autumn Galgon.
And I'm Annabelle Smith. Have you ever heard of the quote, "Journalism is the first rough draft of history"?
No, who said that?
Phil Graham. He was the publisher of the Washington Post.
Sweet. That leads us into our first story. Reporter Julia Means tells us more about the importance of journalism and how it keeps history.
Several plaques on the walls throughout the building provide a history of projects to expand the high school's footprint. The Wings yearbook provides a historical record of the students, staff, and activities of AHS.
So my hope for yearbook is that people can look back on it and they can just remember what their years were like. Like, people can look back on yearbook and remember the bigger details, like, oh, I played volleyball or I cheered and stuff like that. But I mean, you look back on yearbook and we hope to get to the real story of things and show the real heart of people at Augusta.
I think that kids will look back on the yearbook and just reminisce on the old memories that they had. I think when I get a yearbook, like the second year, I don't really look at it. But then, like, when I look at my mom's yearbook, it seems like so interesting because it's from a long time ago and there's more history about it.
When the yearbook first comes out and people first get it, I think they'll look at it for a little bit, maybe put it away, not think too much of it. But then 20 years later, the nostalgia factor is going to hit, and they're going to realize that a lot of memories were stocked away in their mind that they didn't think about until just now, and they're going to have a lot of good times looking back, times with their friends, times with other people, events that they forgot about, and just have a good memory.
We spoke to the Oriole newspaper staff to show a different perspective on capturing history.
I think newspaper is really important for recording things that are happening in the moment that might not be remembered otherwise. So we can really go through certain things like sports that are happening or like new records that have been broken.
Newspaper, when it comes to like recording history, especially when we write stories, is the fact of how we don't just, sometimes we focus on the base level history. You know, when we do news stories, we focus on events that happen, which is great for history because knowing what events have happened in our school provides that nice little, knowledge for people who maybe want to look back and see what's new during certain years. But also because when we do our feature stories, we go more in depth on certain angles of topics about certain people that do certain things, and that gives more of a sense of who was at our school at a certain point in time and what they did, what they accomplished.
I'm reporter Julia Means with videographer Autumn Galgon for Small Town TV.
If journalism is a way of preserving history, do you think they had yearbooks a long time ago, like Dark Ages, Egyptian periods, caveman times?
What do you think they wrote with, a stone and a chisel?
Well, yeah, maybe they'd be called year stones.
Speaking of history, our next story dives deep into Augusta's history with reporter Isaac Bosky.
I've lived in Augusta most of my life, and I've never really taken the chance to learn the history of this town. The story turns out to be way more interesting than you might have thought. Behind me is the oldest house in Augusta, built by Augusta's founder, C.N. James, in 1868. It was a trading lodge, post office, and hosted Methodist church services, and was a public school for the town. Augusta was officially incorporated as a town on February 8, 1871 by the petition of C.N. James and 8 other taxpayers. C.N. James also named Augusta after his wife, Augusta James. The first train rolled into Augusta in 1881 to support the livestock production and to increase agriculture throughout the area. Shortly after the turn of the century, 2 railroad companies served the town, the Santa Fe and the Frisco. And the rest is history. Once we got our trades up from the incoming railroad, the city kept growing and growing, and we got like 10,000 people living in this small town we like to call Augusta.
I don't know if the rest is history, if it's still currently happening.
That is true. Like, if you're playing football, every single second of that game could be considered history.
Didn't some of the seniors just partake in signing into colleges not too long ago?
I think you're right. Wasn't it on the day where we had that one activity scheduled?
Yeah, which leads us into our next story. Reporter Devin Carroll speaks more about sports signings. Take it away, Devin.
Senior Cooper J. will attend Butler Community College for pre-engineering, working toward a degree in engineering. He will also be a member of the football team, playing as center, and is currently focusing on skills to enhance his athletics.
Making sure to practice the fundamentals and making sure I'm getting good workouts in and trying to stay in shape.
Senior Peyton Childers signed a Newman University to play soccer and major in art, specifically digital design.
I chose that field because I wanted to do something different every day. And junior year, I went out of my comfort zone and took a graphic design class and fell in love with it. I run the U.S. Women's Soccer Team Instagram and Twitter. I make the graphics for that and create the posts. I've also been doing a lot of designing for baseball, like their shirts and pictures I've done. So it's been a great way to build my portfolio. I play club year-round. I'll have summer workouts and just be out here on the field with my team, trying my best every day.
Like the others who signed March 27th, seniors Cooper Buell and Jordan Simpson will sign their letters of intent May 1st. They have sports and education ahead of them at community colleges. Buell plans to sign with Labette Community College for wrestling. He chose Labette because he has ties within the community. He also thinks the education they provide will help him with his occupational goals.
I'm going to major in health studies. So that is going to set me up for the next steps in order to become a dentist or orthodontist. Well, in the off season, I've been putting in a lot of work in the gym, a lot of eating right, good sleep habits, the works.
Simpson plans to sign with Neosho Community College for cheerleading because of their quality programs and education.
They have a really good cheer program and a really good nursing program, which will help with both what I want to do sport-wise and career-wise later in my life. I want to be a nurse and then eventually educate myself just to work my way up in the medical field. I've been taking every opportunity I can to do anything I can cheerleading-wise, like All-American and cheer camps and open gyms.
This is reporter Devin Carroll with videographer Rachel Wolmerdorf reporting for Small Town TV.
I wonder how many papers they had to sign, and why did they get free food?
What are the many questions I have about life? Next up, we have a quick brick, which sounds breaking amazing to me. Reporter Caleb Nolenberg plays past the camera with a few of our teachers.
On this episode's Quick Break, we pass the camera around to different teachers, allowing them to give characteristics about each other.
I'm Coach Terry, and I'm passing the camera to a teacher who has far inferior athletic skills.
I'm Mr. Elliott, and I'm going to pass the camera to somebody that probably shouldn't be a teacher.
I'm Rhett Mellon, and I'm passing to Enriqua River.
Hello, I'm Mr. Rivera, principal of Augusta High School. I'm going to pass the camera on to my good friend from Georgia, Miss New Schaefer. Go Dogs.
Hey there, this is Miss New Schaefer, and I am passing the phone or the camera to my partner in crime this year, and then she's leaving me next year.
Hey y'all, this is Miss Harmony, and I am passing it to a teacher whose coaching abilities have only been outshined by his daughter's college goals.
I'm Mr. Childers, and I'm going to pass this camera over to Mr. Spellman.
My name is Mr. Spellman, and I am passing this to a teacher who can't see over his desk while he's teaching.
I'm Mr. Rain, and I'm passing it to a world history teacher. My elbow hurts.
I'm Mr. Hess, and I'm passing the camera on to someone who's way older than me that's been to Silver Dollar City more than Dolly Parton herself.
Hey, this is Mr. Regier. I'm going to pass the camera to Phil because she is not only grew up in a Mennonite area, but also went to Emporia State. Go Hornets.
Hey, I'm Phil. I like to play games, so I'm going to pass it on to somebody who likes to read books.
I'm Mrs. Vitito, and I'm passing the camera to somebody who likes to drink hot tea.
Hi, I'm Mrs. Springs, and I'm passing the camera to someone who would do anything to help a student succeed.
Hi, I'm Mr. Meyer, and I'm passing the camera to a teacher who is innovative and willing to try new things.
Hi, I'm Mrs. Riker, and I'm passing it to a teacher who loves the Queen of England and cats.
Hi, I'm Mr. Lehner, and I'm passing the camera to the teacher who has the best snacks in all the building.
Hi, I'm Mrs. Smeltzer, and I'm going to pass it to someone artistic.
This is reporter Caleb Milmer for Small Town TV.
Wow, I didn't know that teachers had that side to them. It's definitely interesting to see a different perspective of our teachers. I thought it was all about grading papers and telling me to stop talking.
Yeah, for real. The amount of times I had to be told to stop talking throughout all my years in school is mainly because I was just sitting next to you.
Which brings us into our next story about long-term sub Gary Belknap. Reporter Hayden Blair tells us more.
Junior Bryce Hammer explains how the switch to long-term substitute Gary Belknap has been different.
It's really hard to retain the information that we learn when Mr. Belknap isn't here, and It is also a little bit hard to retain the information he teaches because he's not always here to keep teaching us it. The switch between teachers has been very different because Mr. Belknap is a very laid back and fun teacher, but also teaches the material in a very easy to understand way.
Hammer talks about what Belknap has done to help students learn when he isn't in class.
He makes videos for every single lesson that we learn when he isn't here and encourages us to ask questions through email or during ACE when he is here, even after school. That is very helpful and something most teachers wouldn't do, and something I see is going above and beyond.
Belknap tells us about his prior and current teaching experiences.
I substitute taught within the district all the previous school year, subbed the first semester, and then I teach at Wichita State currently as a public speaking instructor. So I teach 2 classes of public speaking every semester, 2 days a week. So it's nothing new, it's just a different environment, different kids, different ages. It actually is nice being in the high school I went to. Like, I know the place like the back of my hand. I know a lot of the teachers from when I was here. I even had some of them as teachers. And I really like that compared to going into a completely new environment like I did when I went to WSU, or when I first started substitute teaching, went to elementary schools I never went to because I went to Ewald. So it's been something where it's a new role in the same building, and that's really fun and interesting to be a part of.
Belknap explains how being in college while teaching has kept him busy.
It's just been packed. What time is it right now? It's 4:30, and I'll probably be here another 30 minutes, another hour or so, and that's just how it is every day. And that's completely fine. I like being here. I like the job. It's just when you're also a grad student and you're also teaching undergrad, is a lot. You don't have a ton of free time, and honestly, that's fine. It just kind of can wear you down a little bit, but if it's something you really enjoy and you want to make it work, you're going to make it work. And so I've made it work. I love teaching at AHS. I really do.
This is reporter Hayden Blair with videographer Willie John Morales for Small Town TV.
And that concludes episode 9 of Small Town TV. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.